Welcome to the monthly CEO AMA. Ask me anything. And Victor is congratulations on asking the first question. Really, really appreciate it. Want to verbalize it?
Sure. I wanted to ask you about your Slack post on the challenger mindset. I understand that you would like us at GitLab to be challengers, as that's the foundation of a bright future for GitLab. My question is more like, how do you see GitLab in terms of the challenger mindset today? Are we practicing it enough, too much, too little, at the right place? And how do you see this balance playing out basically across GitLab?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think we're not practicing it too much. So that's not a problem. I think we have areas where we practice it correctly and areas where we practice it too little. And I want to get the whole company to consistently practice it correctly, which is practice it more in some areas of the company. And for everyone's reference, we're talking about relentless customer focus, a bias for action, and no room for complacency. So we're doing it correctly in some areas, but want to make sure we do it correctly everywhere in the company. And that's why we're having this focus on it.
I have a follow-up question as well. It was very interesting to me see that I think only product people engaged on that Slack thread, or at least as long as I was following along. And personally, I was a bit surprised, but I wanted to ask you, like, are there any specific areas you would be interested to get feedback from in this? Like, how do they understand this? Because I think now you have a good understanding of how product sees this area.
Yeah, well, first of all, kudos to product for engaging the most with the post, but this is throughout the company we want to see this. So this is not a product only thing, it's a company-wide thing for all departments.
And Sid, if I could just jump in there, Victor, rest assured, we actually had a pretty healthy split. So 20% of the responses were from marketing, 20% were from engineering. We had 10% from sales. So it was actually a pretty healthy split. We did have an outsized participation from product, but we did hear from everybody, which was great to see.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thanks for correcting my observations.
No problem. Thank you. I think it's really amazing how much data Rob brings to cultural change. We have a giant advantage at this company where we say everyone can contribute, everyone can speak out without fear. And that means we got a lot of feedback. And Rob and his team has been very good at kind of parsing that and seeing what the sentiment is, how that differs per department, and kind of basing our next steps on that as well. Like, hey, this is where we fail to explain it, or this is where we should pay more attention. So, Rob, I'm just amazed at how much data you're able to bring to these cultural changes.
Thanks, Sid. I have an awesome team, but thank you.
Rhoda, you want to verbalize a question? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So I just wanted to ask whether we can ask a question from Rob as well here, sharing some first insights.
I think you can ask Rob anything, but he doesn't have to answer, just like I don't have to answer. So he can pass it to me or say, I'll get back to that later, but feel free to ask.
Yeah. Based on what I understood before, that you are already processing the answers, and I just wanted to ask if you see any insight, if you get any insights out of them that are ready to be shared.
So I'll choose to answer this one. The insights that we got were that our hypothesis, when we looked into challenger mindset in general and saw how relatable it was to GitLab and where we're trying to go, is that the three traits, the three characteristics from the challenger mindset that we hoped would be validated were validated. The ones that Sid covered, customer focus, bias for action, no room for complacency, those were the ones that people wanted to have the most debate about and that people felt the most relatable to. So that was really, really exciting to see. And that was a primary insight we hoped to get.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great conversation. Rhoda, you want to verbalize your question?
Sure, Sid. With the new fiscal year, what are you most excited about?
Oh, so much. I think I'm I'm excited about our yearlies, and I'll maybe someone can link. We'll go into them in the quarterly kickoff as well. I think this is the first year that we really did a proper take our 3-year strategy, distill it into yearlies, and distill the OKRs, the quarterly goals from that. And that seems to be working very, very neatly. So very excited about that. I think we have the potential this year to turn around the AI awareness in the marketplace. I think we have a competitive offering now with code suggestions, the AI feature that gets the most attention. But now that we have a competitive offering, we can draw the attention to all the other AI features, because AI is not just code generation. AI is not one single feature. AI is a lot of features. And we got a big advantage of GitLab having a broader scope than other platforms. And a broader scope means we have more opportunities for AI features, and we're capitalizing on that. We have 15 features available to customers today, and that's broader than anyone else, and that's creating more value for our customers. And getting that story across, I think, is going to be very exciting in this year. Also, I'm excited about kind of the enterprise agile planning SKU, the ability for customers to deprecate Jira and move to GitLab for everything, including planning, is amazing. I'm excited about Dedicated. We now have very significant customers who are migrating, and I see a lot of potential this year. You get the best of both worlds. You get all the security of having a single tenant environment and all the positives of having a SaaS offering that's updated and backed up for you by us who know the application really well. So I think there's a lot to like.
Thanks, Sid. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the question. I don't see a next question, so I'm going to go over the yearlies for a second. Some of this is internal only, so I'm not going to screen share. It's a link to the internal handbook. But I think we can talk about the 4 major objectives this year. Drive a high performance and customer results driven culture. The challenger mindset is a really important part of that. Cultivate platform buyers with team members and customers confidently articulating our differentiated platform vision and value. Like GitLab means saying goodbye to 10 best-in-class solutions that customers duct tape together with their DIY DevOps. We need to empower our champions to kind of make the case to their companies and create more champions. The third pillar is accelerate visibility into usage and drive value by driving CI compliance and security adoption. There's still a lot of GitLab users and customers who use us just for source code management. Getting them to adopt CI, getting all of our ultimate users to use all of the compliance and security features is a giant lever we have, and we're gonna drive. And the last one, differentiate on platform by strengthening the security offering and successfully delivering new capabilities to market. AI, agile planning, dedicated. Those are some of the things I highlighted earlier. Stella is leading the office of the CEO, and this feels like a planted question, but I can guarantee you it's not. Stella, you want to go ahead?
It's not planted, and I can't spell, but Robin yesterday put this great update in company FYI about the foundation, which is cool because I don't think we've spoken about it for a while. And she wore a hat of a board member. You're a board member as well, Sid. So I want to see if there's anything you want to highlight about what the foundation's doing, or maybe something that you're proud of.
I'm very proud of the work of the foundation. I think it's great that the GitLab team members, GitLab Inc. team members, are getting more visibility into the work the foundation has been doing. That has been lacking, and we're gonna remedy that. And Ellie is super focused and excited about that. I do think that they're doing amazing work. Ali was able to build an amazing team that is, I would say, extremely data-driven in how they approach philanthropy. And the bar they set for themselves is extremely high. They say, of every dollar we spend with the GitLab Foundation, we want to see 100 times positive effects in the world. For most projects, that's raising people's income. So over the next 10 years, those people should be making more money after the project of the foundation. And the amazing thing is they've been able to find a lot of those projects. They've spent approximately $10 million last year, and they got over $1 billion in anticipated income effects, which I think is a really, really great thing. They talk about the projects they sponsor at length on their website. Ali's going to come to the summit with their team to talk people through it. But their kind of high bar is really resonating. And last year they got almost a complete match of the dollars they invested. So they got close to almost $10 million in matches, which is unprecedented. Like, that doesn't happen for a new foundation doing new projects. And that's because people are seeing the data-driven approach, and they say, hey, we know that every dollar spent is going to be spent well, and we're willing to co-fund with you. And it's really great. The GitLab Inc. is allocated at IPO 1% of our shares. I'm personally matching that. So 2% of our kind of shares at IPO, which right now is looking to be more than $200 million. If you 100x that, that's a lot of positive income effects for the world.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing, Sid.
Thanks for asking, Stella. Anyone wants to verbalize? If you can't access the doc, you can also put it in chat, or you can just speak up.
Hi, Sid, this is April. Stella and I were typing at the same time along the lines of the same question. So I've been following the foundation since you announced it about last year, and so thrilled to see what it's doing. Is there a newsletter that we can subscribe to, or an active Slack? Because otherwise I'm on LinkedIn or their website just trying to find like what's happening due to interest.
I think there's a Slack group, but I think it's closed, all the ones I see. Stella, maybe you can draft an email for me to Ali that we had this request and what we should answer. So yeah. I'll ask Ali, April, and get back to you. See if we can either do a newsletter or an open Slack channel. It will be up to Ali to decide how she wants to handle that, but we'll relay your suggestion.
Thanks for that.
I think one thing I'll add is I know Robin's been coordinating with Ellie pretty closely to see how do we bring in more. So ideas are things like, let's make sure it's always included in the quarterly kickoff or some of the assemblies. And I think Robin also committed in our company FYI message to giving more regular posts. So we're definitely going to try to make sure there's more ways that we proactively get that information to team members. Again, Robin's a bit closer to it, but I think the newsletter and the Slack channels are great ideas too. So I'll make sure to pass them along.
And Stella, you just hinted at quarterly kickoff. I will say we'll hear a foundation update from Ellie in our next quarterly kickoff. So April, definitely check out that video when it's shared.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Devin.
Thanks, April. And of course, put April in the CC of that email. Francis, you have number 5.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just wanted to go back to the challenger mindset thing. And I think, oh, wow, I want to learn more about it. Is there a book? Is there a training? Is it in GitLab University? Are we going to talk about it at Summit? Like, how can we kind of focus on that and work on it?
Yeah, thanks so much. There's 2 great blog posts, links in my Slack message, which are a great start. And I think Rob probably has good things or interesting things to say about the rest of your question.
Yeah, happy to. So now that we have received the validation from team members, we know it's something we want to spend time investing in. So our talent development team, Trey and his team, are building out GitLab specific trainings, which will be for how the challenger mindset will come to life here. We hope to launch those in Q1. And then, yes, we will be talking about Challenger Mindset and Summit. Not only is there an unconference session for Challenger Mindset, so please look that up, but you'll also be hearing from the leaders on how they will see Challenge, or how we want to see Challenger Mindset come to life in the fiscal year ahead. So great question. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Victor. You want to verbalize, or thanks, Rob, for that. And thanks, Victor, for asking a second question. Appreciate it. You want to verbalize number 6?
Yeah, I would like to ask you about CEO Shadow, but before that, I want to quickly give you the context more. I am very happy to be on a CEO Shadow program right before Summit. And the right before Summit is important here because I live in Europe and it's just impossible for me to be up at 3 a.m. in the morning, where your working hours actually end. And I know that I can discuss it with the other CEO Shadow partner, that whatever, but like it just becomes very complex. And as a result, I was waiting for years to actually be able to join the CEO Shadow, where I would fly close to the US anyway. The Bahamas was an option a couple of years ago, but just that's the idea. And what I wanted to ask you, was it ever considered that even though the CEO Shadow is not in person, to support people from outside the US, from faraway time zones, to fly to some nearby time zone? I will be actually in Atlanta for the CEO Shadow because that's where I have relatives. And was it ever considered actually to support CEO Shadow people to join CEO Shadows outside of the US this way?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We certainly did discuss this. I'm not sure where we landed on this, and if we landed or what we're doing. Maybe I'll hand it to Stella if she has anything to add afterwards. Personally, well, first of all, I'm super excited. We restarted the program. My illness last year didn't allow us to have it, and now we're back in business. So yay for that. I see the time zone problem. We had yesterday a shadow joining at midnight her time. Like that's not ideal, and means not frequently and working late and not being able to join the whole day. So there's a definitive time zone problem. Now, travel wise, that is more affordable for the company if we solve that by kind of flying into Cancun, staying there for the week, then flying into San Francisco. But I also believe in person-to-person interaction. Now, one of the reasons I'm able to do the shadow program is because it doesn't cost me a lot of time on a day-to-day basis. It's all accredited. Like the shadows are helping with taking notes and giving great suggestions. And it doesn't cost me a lot of time. So the in-person component, I don't want it to cost a lot of my time. I do have in-person meetings in the Bay Area that they could potentially join. So these are GitLab team members. They're giving up kind of 2 weeks of their time. Are we as a company then not investing to get them to San Francisco where they could join in-person meetings and instead sending them to another more affordable place? Like I'm a bit torn on kind of what is wisdom there. So it's an option we consider, but I also believe in in-person interaction, and if they can join a few in-person things, I think it's worthwhile to come out maybe to San Francisco. I think your solution is great. That's very creative. Of course, that makes a ton of sense. Also, I'm not the only GitLab e-group member who's in the Bay Area, and we've got a lot of people here. So maybe it could be an occasion if they fly in, but the two of them, not at the same time where we have it staggered, but like maybe organize a Bay Area meetup or do something like that. So ideas, not a lot of conclusions yet. The focus was at least restart the program and then figure it out along the way. Stella, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I know at some point already put together an issue around like how do we make sure this is more equal for people across time zones. But the program had been gone for so long and there was so much pent-up demand that we just shipped the boring solution, which is like put it back in the form it's been in for a really long time and make sure that people have access. And I know that people have been working around time zones. Yen's based in Australia. I think she was the first shadow that Sid had as we relaunched the program. So people have done it, and we tried to be accommodating by saying, if you're not going to be there the first 4 hours of the day, and we kind of pre-agree to it and we know, that's okay, but it still doesn't make it perfect. and it's still not an in-person experience. So I think it's kind of what are you trying to solve for? And the first thing we're solving for is just getting the program back there. But I think you raise a good question. And as we kind of head into the year, it's important to think about this. To Sid's point, when you start getting into in-person, there are budget implications. So we just need to kind of look at that and figure out how to do it in the right way. Looking at budget and then kind of the impact of experience for the shadows, as well as what Sid can kind of manage with his schedule. So I'm glad you're bringing it up. It's something that you should bring up again in a few months or a quarter or so and make sure we're thinking about it, because especially as we add more shadows on, it's something we could consider more.
Artie, you're also posting anything you want to verbalize?
No, I think Stella covered it. If someone just wants to copy the link to the issue to the doc, that would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, someone copied it in. I'm not sure who did that, but that's great. Thank you. Under 6C.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking, Victor. Anybody else? Cool. This ends the public portion. Thank you so much for watching.